Well, this is certainly a day for the political napalm. We are just an hour or so after the reveal that Joseph R. Biden has decided not to seek the Democrat nomination for the President of the United States from 2025 going forward for a full term. He has abdicated the future throne, so to speak, and has decided to, unfortunately, as the running narrative has been, pass the torch. I am not one of those doomsayers who believed that he should do this. I would have liked myself back in 2020 and for 2024 going forward to have had a younger candidate. To me, my favorite president in my lifetime is Bill Clinton. I believe his track record for what he did for this country speaks for itself. You know, you have a lot of the right wing who likes to say things like, "Are you better than you were 4 years ago?" Well, considering that was July of 2020 in the height of COVID, and right around the time in which India finally had surpassed the United States in COVID cases and deaths. And I mean, that says a tremendous amount. Imagine being worse off than India, of all places, with terrible food and water security. Imagine being behind them for so long at the start of it. Excuse me, actually ahead of them in terms of the negative repercussions of COVID. They only, at around this time in 2020, started pulling ahead in terms of the effect of COVID on the country, and that's incredibly sad. If you wanted to say, okay, throw away 2020, are you better off than you were 5 years ago, 2019? The absolute response to all of it, whether it's 2020, 2019, 18, 17, the answer is yes. I am far better off. I had far better hope for the future to watch Biden announce the first time house buyers assistance at 10K, which is 2K higher than what Obama had done. Even though I did not have college debt, I enjoyed watching him try very, very hard to get that pushed through, because even if I did not need to partake in it, I support anybody else who did. And I support the joy and happiness of anybody who is being crushed by college debt, getting out from under it, and hopefully being able to live a life and get it going, because Gen X was able to kind of sneak in there on the wave that boomers had created, but Gen X and younger does not have the same capabilities to start an adult life the way boomers did. How easy was it for boomers to work a job and have it pay for college compared to Gen X and then millennials and Z and all of them? Starting salaries for people coming out of college, being able to get into an apartment for at least a few years, and then being able to get out of an apartment and into a house, mostly not even on double salaries, mostly on single salaries. They were able to progress their mid to late 20s much, much quicker than current generations. And getting out from college debt is a huge key to that. And I would never be one of those people who's like, well, I got mine. You know, I fight against this. I had to pay mine off. Why should anybody else get it? I mean, I am literally got a house sandwiched in between the Obama credit and a Biden attempted credit. You would never sit there and watch me stick my hand out and say, okay, give me my 10K 2-3 years late, or bemoan the fact that I didn't get that boost because he thought of it later, or hey, I was renting for so many years, where's my rent cap, my rent increase cap and everything. Actually, my rent stayed stable for a very, very long time because it was a private landlady. But I would never look back and go, where was mine? I didn't get mine, so I'm going to crap on the heads of other people. I've never been like that. So, yeah, where I am in July of 2024 is far better than 2020, 2019. And when Republicans attempt to say that like Biden destroyed the fabric of America and everything, they want to go back to what Trump had. They're like, where's the $1.86 gas and stuff like that. I want to say, hey, let's go back to Bill Clinton and say, where's the 99-cent gas? Where's the 95-cent gas and stuff? So, yeah, this is sad to see this statement come out from him, to uh, see this come out and know that he's not seeking the opportunity going forward. But there is benefit to this. For those who were growing perhaps disillusioned with Biden, beginning to think that he was maybe weakening or getting more frail, or there were too many gaffes and too many missteps and everything, whoever comes up, and it does look to be Kamala Harris at this point, whoever steps up and fills that role will likely not have that attack on them. So that attack can be solely focused on Trump now, and things like Reapy Duke and airports during the Revolutionary War and saluting North Korean generals, and Tim Apple is the head of Apple, and Kavefi and Nambia and every other idiot thing that he says is Hannibal Lecter stuff, windmill cancer, sharks and electric batteries, and I would rather get eaten by the shark than be electrocuted, and all of the stupid, idiotic things he's done, like, yeah, maybe we should inject disinfectant. I won't say bleach because he didn't say bleach. It was disinfectant. Could you say that bleach or Lysol or hydrogen peroxide is a disinfectant? Yes, but I'm going to use his word. You should inject a disinfectant. You should bring light inside the body. And Brix's look over to the side like, I cannot believe this is the reality that I'm in right now. The hydroxychloroquine or hydroxychloroquine pushes, the ivermectin pushes, and then taking credit for warp speed to a level which he didn't deserve credit for, and Pfizer didn't take his money, although they allowed the government to buy doses. That's key. The lies that he spews constantly and the consequential lies that Trump spews. We're not talking whether Biden knew a drug dealer named Corn Pop or not, but the actual consequences of his lies, and how they fake people out and fake photos of Biden asleep when it was him praying in church, and fake photos of Biden alone, diminished in a basement, when the full photo shows he's surrounded by people at a Super Bowl party. The look at Biden and his Nazi-esque coloring because he's standing in front of red and black lights, when the full-on shot shows it was white, blue, and red with the lights behind it. It was just a crop shot showing only the red and black, so it looked like the Empire or Sith. The media, mainstream media, big media, now needs to turn around, stop being half in Trump's pocket, and focus on low rally sizes, botched speeches, these tangents that he does. The fact that he thinks bringing Hulk Hogan up on stage is a good idea, where the man was ghosted from the WWE because of having sex with a friend's wife, and in those sex tapes dropping the N word in reference to his daughter's boyfriend's choice, and then saying things like, well, if she's going to do that, at least find an 8 foot tall basketball player with a lot of money, and just saying, oh, she's making terrible choices and N word this. He brings Lawrence Taylor up on stage. Lawrence Taylor is already a sexual predator of an underage girl and now has been arrested again. Now the focus needs to be on how bad the Republican Party is. Like Wadsack getting busted for speeding 71 in a 35 and claiming political persecution, and Boebert having a similar thing, and Brad Parscale gets out of the Trump campaign and scares his wife and is running around shirtless with a gun. Anton Lazaro being a pedo. Rudy and his problems. Lindell going broke trying to prove voter fraud and not being able to prove it, but throwing money at everybody who whispered, I know voter fraud. And then he was throwing money at them. And now, of course, there's the $5 million he owes somebody. Dinesh D'Souza and the 2000 Mules film that has been pulled from book and video publication everywhere. The fact that Dinesh had to reprint the book more than once because of the lies and slander that was in the book. The fact that he's not been able to prove a mule, and when people take him to court, he loses. Judge Eileen Cannon dismissing the documents case only for Jack to refile and get the case pushed through again, saying she didn't have the right to do it. Special counsel is legit. So that appeal is probably going to get that back on track. The E. Jean Carroll sexual assault case, the Trump organization fraud case, all of it needs to come back and focus on him now. And that is where big media needs to go and mainstream media needs to go, because at the lower ranks, social media, Facebook, Twitter, everything else is going to go after Kamala in misogynistic ways and racist ways. If you've never seen it in the past, you're going to see it now, and it's going to be bigger and it's going to be more prominent. I have seen the quote unquote Joe and the hoe gotta go things out there, and people who think Kamala was on her knees for all of her positions and that's how she got ahead. That is what the right wing believes. And I would say pretty much in the privacy of their own home, but that doesn't exist anymore because Trump has lifted the rotted log and let all of those pill bugs and centipedes and millipedes and worms crawl out from that detritus, that broken down soil under that log, and he's lifted it up and he's let it all scurry out, and we will see it. So it's going to be crazy going forward from now until November. So here's a statement. I know none of it could be done without you, the American people. We came out of the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We protected and preserved our democracy, except for where SCOTUS has undermined that. Let me express my deepest gratitude for all those that I've worked with. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner. That's his official statement. Bill Clinton, Secretary Clinton, Bill Clinton is backing Kamala Harris over here. And this is a big key. Right after the announcement, right after I found out about it, about 3 minutes later, my father texted me, and then I called him. We got on the phone, and he was somebody who had been hoping that Biden would pass the torch. He saw the first part of the debate with Trump, whereas I saw the second part, and in the beginning, Biden was not as good, and that's what my father remembers. And he said, Biden looked lost to me. And I tried to defend it and said, because he was watching this torrent of lies come from Trump and couldn't believe it was happening. And my father still was more of the mindset that Biden just looked like very, very out of it. Like he was sort of having a Mitch McConnell moment. And he didn't see the second half of it, which is what I saw, where Biden began to sort of get with it a little bit more, then I know how he was at the Waffle House afterwards, but my dad didn't. My dad is voting blue, as is myself, uh, coming in 2024 and in November and everything. So he is not the kind of person that I would be rallying against in these things that are said. Um, we're very much on the same course, but he had wanted to see a newer candidate for a little bit because he was afraid that Biden would not be able to beat Trump. And that is a lot of what the media pushed, and a lot of that pass the torch stuff was backed by a Republican in bed with Peter Thiel and was able to infiltrate some of the more fringe outer rim, so to speak, Democrats like Manchin and Cinema and get them to begin to talk about, Biden should step aside. And then it just grew and grew. And people like Adam Schiff on social media, people like me were tearing apart somebody like Adam Schiff for doing it. It was dislike for John Favreau for pushing it, and Jon Stewart for pushing it. And the only thing that I can hope for at this point is that those who push for him to go away will continue to be invigorated no matter who is picked, because those who were going to vote for Biden, I doubt are going to change. They know the stakes, and they know it is imperative to keep Project 2025 and what Trump world wants going forward. It is imperative to keep that away, and I don't see anybody that would have voted for Biden going, well, screw that. It's over now. I guess I'm voting for Trump. And I don't think they're even going to vote independent. RFK is a maniac. He's a brain worm riddled maniac who maybe ate a goat, maybe ate a dog. That is a hot mess, way hotter of a mess than Biden for sure, and maybe about as equal to Trump. But it is sad to watch money have been a major factor in pushing Biden. Now, Biden had his own issues that I think people may have been justified in calling out, but this mega donor thing and potentially withholding money, if Biden is going to be the candidate, but we release the money to another candidate, that's crazy. And I think a lot of what I've seen on social media is people are upset that he got bullied out. Maybe COVID's hitting him hard. Maybe he is realizing this is it. I mean, everything we've been hearing over the past couple of weeks is that he's not dropping out. He's strong. He's like, I am your candidate. That's the deal, blah, blah, blah. And of course, there's mixed reactions to that of, well, that sounds strong. We're good. Or he needs to step aside, throw somebody in there who can beat Trump. The polls are not great. I'm like, okay, yeah, but watch what's going to happen. If it becomes Kamala, watch what they're going to do to her. And I don't even know who else is going to be on the ticket right now. Harris Buttigieg is something a lot of people are floating. I would be perfectly fine with that. That's a lot of youth. That's a lot of future planning right there. I would certainly hope people would not be bigoted against a ticket like that features an African American woman and a gay man. I truly hope that does not come under attack, but on the right, it certainly may be. But as Tristan Snell points out, if Kamala Harris is the Dem nominee, will Donald Trump debate her? If he debates her, she will cut him to ribbons. I absolutely believe this, and is one of the things that even my dad mentioned. J.D. Vance has declined to debate Kamala. So I think if somebody gets up there and is not with that deer in the headlights look that Biden had, whether he was sick, whether he was lower on his mental faculties than we wanted him to be, whether he was just gobsmacked that Trump was just putting all these lies out here and not getting fact checked and nobody was stopping him, whatever the cause was, this likely will not happen again if there is another debate. And I hope whoever gets up there against Trump, absolutely shreds him, and takes him to task for things like your taxes are going to go up 20% or quadrupled, and all this other BS that he said. And God forbid he ever says, you were better off with me 4 years ago. That is an absolute blown up dam that should come his way if he dare says that in a debate. So that is the unfortunate breaking news that we have to talk about over here, that Biden has decided to step down. Of course, unless the Republicans and the Heritage Foundation begin to challenge this in lawsuits. At this point in time, it does seem he will continue the rest of his presidency, and I certainly hope he does. But this is going to be a very volatile time from July until November. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one.